Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video we will explain the setup and some of the code for this light project. So in the first two videos we saw two different perspectives. In the first one we saw a live show mixed with music and a live presentation of all the modes interacting. Very beautiful. In the second video we saw a demo one by one, all the different modes and how to change them, how to configure them, how to interact with them in live. So in this video we will see a diagram of all the wiring and also how to do some of the code. So first we have, this is the diagram. First we have the microphone. The microphone is connected to an auto-tune pedal. The auto-tune pedal is connected to the RC505. Also to the RC505 we have the keyboard. It's a Yamaha F13. So the RC505 is connected to OBS and to one of the programs that we'll describe that is called MIDI to UDP. So all of this is actually in the computer. So we will have the audio, it will be by USB connected to OBS, and to MIDI to UDP we will have the MIDI signal also through USB. On the other side we have connected to the computer also the lip motion that is responsible to sending the finger position and to control the lights with the fingers. And also we have the MIDI controller that contains pads and knobs. And with this information we will control the light, so we need all of that in MIDI to UDP in the computer. So lip motion is connected to libd, which is a part of the drivers actually, and that one is connected to fingers to UDP. That's a second software that we will talk about, script develop here. This fingers to UDP is connects, as its name indicates, through UDP to the LED brain, to the Raspberry Pi, same as MIDI to UDP. Actually the computer and the Raspberry Pi, they are connected on the same wireless network, so we send the messages through UDP, and then the LED brain will turn on and off the lights. So if we simplify a little bit the diagram to explain the little programs, we have we have the RC505 and the MIDI controller connected to MIDI to UDP, the lip motion connected to the driver that is connected to our software fingers to UDP, and at the end we have the LED brain. So by the end the LED brain that is in the Raspberry Pi will receive 4 kinds of messages. Will be stop, beat, not, mode and fingers. They have 3 different sources, so 2 of the sources are the same but they have different origin. So we have the RC505 will send stop messages and beat messages. The MIDI controller will send not and mode messages. The mode is from the pads and the notes from the notes, and the different programs in the LED brain will use this information in different ways, we'll see later. And last but not least we have the lip motion, that is the fingers message, and we will see how it's composed, but it's basically the red, green and blue values based on our fingers. So let's see for these 3 little programs some programming details. In MIDI to UDP we will see first how to list the MIDI devices connected to the computer. Second, we will see how to receive MIDI messages from these MIDI devices. Third, we will see how to translate the MIDI messages to LED brain messages, which are the messages that we saw before. And then we will see how to send and receive those messages through UDP. For the second program, fingers to UDP, we will see first how are the objects that we receive from the lip motion, virtual objects of course, with all the coordinates. Then we'll see how to get the coordinates specifically of the tips of our fingers. That is the information that we're using to create the RGB values. and then we will see how to transform that into an RGB triplet. And then in the LED brain there's a lot of logic there, but we will see only how to turn on and off some lights and how to create some worms. So let's start by the beginning. So let's start how to list the MIDI devices. We just write this code and we have them. Of course, we have to import one library, to use one library that is called PyGames. Okay, how to receive MIDI messages. We have to write this other code that will print all the MIDI messages from this device. Then we want to translate these MIDI messages to LED brain messages. So if we click on the paths, we see these messages. So these messages will be translated into mode change. When we rotate this knot, we have these different messages with the value of the knot. We want them translated like this. So we create the LED brain knot messages. Okay. So if we want to send and receive messages through UDP, we first have to have the IP address of the receiver. In here we're just working the same machine, but you need the IP address of your Raspberry Pi in your local network. And then you write this code and this will send messages through UDP. On the other side, you need this code that consists basically on waiting for messages and just print them on the screen. So if we try everything out, we will see sending messages on one screen, receiving them on the other. Okay, part 2. Fingers to UDP. How are the objects that we receive? This is part of a sample code that came with the lip motion. We see that when we move the hand, we'll receive these objects. So these objects contain hands and contain fingers, and each finger contains bones, and each bone has a next join and the previous join. So in our case, we will just be interested in coordinates of the next join of the last bone of these 3 fingers, and the same for this finger, the thumb. So after doing some calculations with these coordinates, we get 3 values, and these are the values that we will send through UDP as we saw before. So to end, we will see LED brain, how to turn on and off some lights. So you need first to follow this tutorial about how to set up some lights with a Raspberry Pi, and after you do that, you can start with NeoPix, and then you can turn all the lights on, and when you do that, result it works. So if we want to change every particular amount of time, we do this and this and this, and we have a changing light color. For example, in this example, every second we change color. And then to end, if we want to create some worms, we write this code, we hit enter, and we have the worms. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. I hope you like it, and see you next time.